Okay, perfect. All right. So first of all, happy Tuesday, everyone. My name is Rebecca Cafiero. This is our Wellness Collective call, and I'm excited today to share a little bit about what we've been working on behind the scenes, specifically Gabby, because she gets all the credit for this. But I also just wanted to do a quick announcement that I'm kind of going on the beginning of my maternity leave now that I'm like 3 weeks out. So I am going to be, for now, pausing Motivation Monday calls if you plug into those, and also the Tuesday night op calls, just because I don't feel well enough to like be my best self on a consistent basis. I just want to let everyone know that, and we will most likely restart those at some point once I get the handle of what it's like to have 2 children, 3 and under. Okay, so let's get started. So today we are finally doing something I promised a while ago, and again, thank you to Miss Gabby for really making this happen. But our Wellness Collective message has gotten so big, and there's so many people on it that it's getting to be a little bit overwhelming. So we wanted to split it up. So I want to go over today the different areas within the Wellness Collective, which everyone can participate in, and kind of some calls to action. So first of all, oh, Jess, are we going over fitness plateaus? Yes, we are. You are. We'll just do this as just announcements first. I'm sorry. Mama brain. All right. Oops. Hold on. You're muted. What'd you say?
I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, this will be like 5 to 7 minutes, and then I'll turn it over to you, my dear.
No, totally.
But that way, this is good. People will watch both calls because they're going to need to get one or the other. So just to let everyone know, we have our Elevate Wellness Collective, and let me just show you really quickly what that looks like. Hold on, I'm going to do a screen share. So there's a couple of different kind of layers within the collective, and that's really depends upon whoever wants to be part of it. But basically, the first one is those that are officially on our website. Now, why would someone want to be on this? Well, one, it's just an extra credibility builder. I mean, realistically, I don't know how many people are getting contacts or leads or like clients through here, but it's a credibility builder. So this is a little bit about us. And then it's got everyone in here who has submitted their bio, okay? Now, really the only requirements we have for this is that someone be utilizing Isagenix personally, and ideally incorporate it somehow into whatever they're doing. So I think everyone on here is a consultant, meaning they have at least set up a few people using ISA. And obviously we have people all over the map, from Jen, who's an executive, and Gabby, who's got a consistent income stream with ISA, and Nicole, who's a 2-star, to people that are much more casual. But the idea is that we all utilize it somehow in our personal and professional practice, okay? And since Jess is going today, and she's a personal trainer, and also I think nearly finished with her IIN, but it has a bio, it has your certifications, it's got a quote, it's got some knowables, and then it's got your social media. You have the option of whether or not you want a email link. You don't need to have that. If you're someone, let's say I'm going to pull up Gabby here, or Jen. Where's Gabby? There you are. If you're someone that already has your own website, like Gabby does, it may not make sense to get a different email. So you decide what's best for you. But it's just an extra credibility builder. And then, of course, as we've talked about in the past, it's a really good tool when you're sharing Isagenix and nutritional rebalancing and this community and all of the other things, the ISA Body Challenge, Healthy Mind and Body. When you're sharing it with someone else you meet, because we tend to be some of the most skeptical people when we are certified in health or fitness. So it's just an extra credibility builder to overcome that initial skepticism. So that's the website, okay? So next, we're going to go to our Facebook message. Now, we have been using this Facebook message as a catch-all, which has been great, but we've overgrown it or outgrown it. So we are turning the Facebook message, and I just want to make this clear, and I'm going to announce it in there, because there's a lot of prospects, which is fine. There's a lot of people that are not in the Wellness Collective. They're not even maybe on ISA. They just got added in there, and that's entirely fine. But this message is going to turn into basically a notification for the HARO articles, okay? And HARO is help a reporter out, so I post them in a couple times a week if there's a good one. I definitely recommend everyone in here who has an interest in growing your brand and your exposure and your credibility to take advantage of HARO. But this is going to be for that. If you have no interest whatsoever in ever doing an article, feel free to remove yourself. And I'm also interested, maybe just by a quick show of hands of who's on here now, Do you think this is still a good place to put if we have an urgent client question versus putting that in our Facebook group? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. So if it's an urgent client question, all right, that is the message. So it'll be HARO and urgent client questions. Elevate Wellness Collective, which dear Gabby put together. Okay, so this is our official subgroup. Now, this is not meant to replace an Elevate Leadership or Elevate Your Life project or wherever you are in. This is just really a subgroup. And so I want to just kind of explain to everyone what this will be used for. So right now, I think there's 25 of us, so the majority of us are in here. This is really to be used for resources, whether it's just health related or it's the nerdier isogenic stuff, right? The average product user is going to be like, over my head. So if you see a great article or a great podcast or whatever, feel free to plug it in there, whether it's isogenics related or it's like, you know, Dr. Sears or Dr. whoever that you just love. Bulletproof. It's also a great place to ask questions. It's also a great place to add other wellness prospects so they can see the dialogue that goes on. And then I'd say business resources specifically for Elevate Wellness. And what I mean by that is I'm going to put in here my sample email that I do for wellness practitioners with the resources, things like that are very specific to those of us building a business with isogenics who are also wellness professionals. Is everyone good with that? All make sense? Okay, perfect. Call to action. I'm going to put the call schedule in here for future calls since I am going to be a little bit off the grid for a little while, probably in a few weeks. I will put a call schedule so that we can make sure that people are signing up for calls like today. And then secondly, what I would love everyone to do, and I'll put an ask for this, is I'm going to make an introduction thread. I would love everyone to introduce themselves with a photo, a little bit about themselves, a little bit about what they do in health and wellness, maybe their favorite product, something of that sort, so that, you know, basically a bio. So you have credibility when people are coming in and seeing us. And then the last thing is just what I would love to ask everyone is if you are in Elevate Wellness, and I realize there's a ton of different groups, Elevate Your Life Project, there's a ton of different groups, but I am going to create a little calendar, and I would love if everyone would take once or twice a month, like every other week, since there's at least 14 of us, where you post something of adding value into the group. It could be a video, it could be your favorite recipe, it could be just whatever it is. Even if you are interacting in another group like Balanced Life or Your Best You or one of the other groups, just copy and paste, because it would just be wonderful to see engagement. And one thing Gabby actually pointed out is, you know, there have been people that have gotten clients who need extra support from this group. It's also just a great way to increase your following. You've already got a community that's a safe space that's all about what you're about. So, you know, putting a little extra attention into the group is just a positive. And I think that's it. Any questions or comments or feedback? No? Everyone on the same page? Okay, perfect. So now I am going to turn it over to Birdie, Miss Jessica Bird, who is I'm going to let her give her whole bio, but she's amazing and dear friend in Oregon. So my dear, it is over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. How's the volume? Because I can never tell when I have my ear. Okay, perfect. So hi, my name is Jessica Hagestedt, but my nickname is Birdie. And I am an ACSM personal trainer, former NC2A D1 division athlete. I am actually just got recently, about 6 months ago, certified in stages indoor cycling as well. And I'm a mommy to a crazy 2-year-old and a wife to an amazing man. My jam in life has been to basically take all those things that I am and meld them into one. And I help busy mamas and women find a healthy balance in their life through my functional wellness programs that just promote bringing passion, purpose, and strength back into their everyday living. And today I'm talking about something that is like I'm super stoked about as well. It is fitness plateaus, and it's something that my clients and a lot of people face at usually some point in their journey through healthier living. So first of all, I would like to kind of go over what a fitness plateau is if you don't really know. And that's usually when your body stops responding to the fitness or nutrition routine or program that you're currently on. A lot of clients say they've kind of like hit a wall. They're just not seeing either weight loss on the scale, or they're just not feeling like they're getting leaner, or they're not able to increase their strength in the gym, or what have you. So there's there's so many factors, because our bodies are such complex little beings. But some of the factors that we can actually help tweak that go into plateaus are eating. So what they put in their body, what their exercise is, what they're drinking, part of what they're putting in their body, and a lot of that's going to be water intake, and then also sleep. And sleep also being rest or downtime. Once again, fitness plateaus, major bummer, because usually people are following, or our clients are following somewhat of like a regimented or set out scheduled plan. And so when they hit these, they can be very frustrating. So it's all about kind of like giving them the knowledge that this happens. Let's figure out what's going on. One of the biggest things I find when I meet somebody who, or has a client who has a fitness plateau, is I like to determine whether it really is a plateau or not. If it's before like 8 weeks into any sort of program or routine, it's usually not a plateau. There's usually something else that's maybe not going on. A lot of time our clients kind of get into this routine, and if they're not kind of writing things down, they might have, one cheat meal, quote unquote, or what have you here, and then forget that they had it, and those add up. So what I like to do, especially if it's prior to that 8-week mark, like I said, is have my clients do a detailed food log and diary. And in it, I have them do their weights for the exercise portion, their weights, their sets, their reps, how much rest they're doing in between, how much, like how many times they're going to the gym, how they're feeling before and after. Same with food, everything that goes into their body, be it food or beverage, I have them write down. I have them kind of give a little journal of what they're feeling prior to the fact, and also feeling like about an hour after they've consumed those things. I also do portion size. I don't have them measure things because that gets a little intense, but I'll have them do it based on like their hands. Like, was it a fistful of stuff, a palm size, a thumb, stuff like that. So it's easy kind of visually. They have the tools right in front of them. And then also I have them write down like a sleeping log in terms of what time they're going to bed. How was their sleep? Was it restful? Were they out like a rock? What time did they, thanks, Rebecca. What time did they like wake up? Just like every little nitty gritty detail into their sleep patterns. And also a little bit of like journaling of what they did prior to bed, because that's going to come into play later too. But basically everything and anything that is being done with or to the body is going to be logged in this fun journal. But it's only a week. I let them know this is just a week, and this is really going to give us all the information that we need to move forward and get past the plateau. So what I usually find is when exercise and fitness are in line and everything's going great, that it's going to be sleep. Sleep is a huge factor. A lot of people kind of underestimate it. And it's not just the quantity of sleep and the hours that they're sleeping, but it's the quality of sleep that they're getting. A lot of times it is quantity if there's not enough, but most of the time it's poor sleep, or their timing is off. I have a lot of clients who are night owls, and they like to stay up to like midnight, and kind of that sweet spot window of sleep is from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., where your body is really in that natural circadian rhythm to get this down, to get your body basically doing everything it needs to do at night when you're resting at a cellular level. So basically what I look with their sleep habits is when they're going to bed to see if they're hitting that window, when they're waking up, how many hours they're getting. A lot of people aren't getting enough sleep hours as well. They're maybe getting 4 or 5 hours, thinking they can function off of that. And you can do that for short periods of time, but it's not really recommended for most people for long periods of time. Also, their sleep environments. I want to make sure that that's set up in the right way. Are they sleeping with, in a bright environment, or do they have blackout lighting? There's super like simple things you can, I think, get at Target that you can just temporarily put up to make your room kind of blackout dark, because that's super important. Do they have, I promote essential oil diffuser next to the bed to help, put some lavender in it to help kind of give that calming sense. Also screen time. When was the last time that they looked at the screen? A lot of people fall asleep with their laptops literally on them watching YouTube. So not only are they falling asleep to a screen, but then they're sleeping there with the screen light like on them, which is not really great or conducive to a good night's rest. So, because then on top of that, they wake up essentially in the middle of the night to turn it off. And once again, they get that blue light and the screen. And it really just really messes with the natural circadian rhythms and us getting that quality sleep. So I like to make sure that they get no screen time for about an hour and a half before bed, and also that they take all their devices and turn down the blue light level as much as possible on their phone, on their computer, anything that they're looking at, and also to invest in some of these blue light blocking glasses. I got these on Amazon for like, I think it was $18, and they're super comfortable. Also the coolness of the room. The room optimal temperature is between 60 and 68 degrees. And that's where our body is going to be able to kind of get down into that rested state in the best way possible. And then caffeine, you guys, this is another huge one that I'll touch on really quickly. Most people don't know this, but caffeine has a half-life of up to about 6 hours. So that means that if you even are thinking, okay, I'm good, it's 2 p.m., I am not going to bed for, however many hours, I'll just have a cup of coffee. And let's say that cup of coffee just has 200 milligrams of caffeine. That means at 8 p.m., you still have 100 milligrams of caffeine in your system, which is not conducive to sleep as well. So you kind of have to find that sweet spot of like, okay, when did your clients have caffeine last? Did they have it at all? A lot of times it's the sensitivity is there and they don't really recognize it because they're like, oh, I didn't have it at all this afternoon or something, but some people are a lot more sensitive than others. So if their sleep habit and environment are up to scratch, or that we've made those changes and not really seeing anything, I like to look at what their current weight is, because a lot of clients are coming to us for weight loss as a main goal. When they lose a certain amount of weight, they've started a certain caloric intake amount, and we need to adjust that as well. They can't just continue eating that same caloric amount as they started with, because when you weigh more, your body burns more calories than when you weigh less, because our bodies try to be as efficient as possible. Thank you, prehistoric ancestors for that one. So we look at that, and that's where that food diary comes right back in. Since it's so detailed, you can kind of get an understanding of like how the calories that they're eating, but then also looking at what they're eating, looking at the macronutrient breakdown. Are they getting enough protein? Are they getting enough complex carbohydrates? Are they getting enough healthy fat? That's one that I do see a really big dip in for a lot of clients, because fat has it's sort of coming back now, the whole keto diet thing, but it's been such like a negative thing for a long time that it's really hard to get out of my clients' heads. It's super easy when we do, for at least my clients, to look at these too, because it sounds like it's a lot, but especially if they're following the diet or lifestyle rather that I like to promote, where they are incorporating the superfood isogenic shakes. That's twice a day. So that means I'm only looking really at 1 meal and 2 snacks. So it makes it a lot easier to kind of break down that and tweak things a little bit. So it's not only not overwhelming for me, but it's not overwhelming for them as well. Let's see. And lastly, on the food portion is looking at in that food journal of how they felt after they ate, because a lot of times people might be have food sensitivities that they don't really realize, because they're feeling so crummy when they start the program. Now they're starting to feel better, and these foods might be like actually reacting to them negatively. They could have an intolerance, or they could be causing inflammation. So I like to look through the food log to see if maybe they were, had eggs and felt super groggy later that day, or dairy and soup felt super bloated and gassy or whatnot. And then also on that note is look at their gut health. Like my little 2-year-old's book, Where's the Poop? How are their poops? How is their bowel movements? Are they typically really gassy and constipated or bloated, or do they have like runny diarrhea stuff? I know this is not really pleasant to hear, but it's also important to kind of go over with them. I like to, when this does happen, and in general, I usually put my clients on a probiotic, but I do, it depending on the vegetable level that they're eating, we'll often put them on the prebiotic too, and that will help with the gut health issues that they're facing if they're, not showing really any specific reactions to foods. Lastly, I like to go into the gym and their habits in the gym. Are they actually going as regularly as they said they were in that log? But if they're seeing, because a lot of times, it's not just the weight loss or whatnot. There are a lot of clients who see plateaus in the gym where all of a sudden they are like, I can't lift any weight, any like heavier weight. I've stopped. I just can't add any more weight on. or if they start to decline, but we'll get into that. So when I was talking before, I was saying, but basically between 6 and 8 weeks, if this plateau happens before then, usually it shows up in that log that they do, and everything kind of magically readjusts itself, and all of a sudden they either losing more weight and or they're gaining more strength because they're starting to track it. But if things fall through and they're still not seeing the gains, it's usually right around that 68 week mark, because that's the time that our muscles are getting like adapted to the routine, and that's when we like to switch it up anyways. But the other thing I like to remind my clients is, sorry, my mom brain's going everywhere. The other thing I like to remind my clients is that gains aren't linear. So just like weight loss, we are not going to just continue to just gain strength that way, just like we're not going to continue to lose weight on a linear pattern either. If you think of that in terms of weight loss, if we're losing 5 pounds a month or 5 pounds a week or wherever you are at, and you just kept doing that, eventually you disappear. Same with muscular strength. Like for example, if I am doing a deadlift with a 45-pound bar, and one week I just start with a 45-pound bar, and the next week I add 5 pounds, and then the next week I had 5 pounds, and just continue doing that. In about 4 years, I'd be able to deadlift over about 1,000 pounds, which would be awesome, but it's not really realistic. So unfortunately, we do have endpoints that our muscles can reach, and we also, the closer we get to the peak and max strength and or where your weight should be, the more attention we have to pay in every single little minute detail. So the leaner that you get, the more focused you have to be on every little thing that you're doing for your body, be it sleep, nutrition, hydration, and exercise. So now what to do based on the information that I just kind of chatted about. It's all about just making adjustments. For exercise, you can do, that's the greatest thing. There's so many different things you can do. You can change the modality. So like an exercise machine, if they were just doing dumbbell squats, they can do leg press, or you just switch up which exercises they're doing, because it's going to demand their muscles work in a slightly different way, and that's going to create some gains. You change the reps, the sets, the rest time in between sets, or even the rest time in between workout days. So you could do like full body days, or you could do split routines, you could do push-pull routines. Also the intensity, not just in the weightlifting, like doing HIIT workouts or higher rest workouts, so it's a little bit lower intensity during the resting time and more during the work time. But you can do for cardiovascular, like intervals versus distance or timed workouts, or vice versa. Also switching up the modality with which you typically do cardio. If your client's typically a runner, you have them swim or have them cycle, elliptical, stair climb machine, go for hikes, just to kind of depending on what they have access to. And for nutrition, if they are absolutely nailing their nutrition and there's no like intolerances or gut health issues, try switching up kind of like maybe what they're eating or introducing new foods. Our body likes to burn the least amount of calories necessary, like I was saying. And in order to kind of keep our body guessing, basically, we have to not stay on like a same strict thing forever. Or same regiment forever. We have to kind of switch things up. So if they are, let's say, for example, I have my clients do supported fasting, and they cleanse along with their shakes that I give them. And instead of just doing like a 1 day or 2 day cleanse where you stop eating basically on, let's say, Tuesday night, and you cleanse all of Wednesday, cleanse all of Thursday, and break your fast on Friday, I'll have them do a 1 day cleanse, but instead of kind of doing that routine, I'll have them shake in the morning and in the afternoon, and then I'll have them start their cleanse at dinner time, and then break their cleanse the next night at dinner time with a shake, and then sleep again, and then have a normal day. And just kind of throwing in different routines like that can really help kind of shift what your body is used to, and it kind of gets it going again. Also a big an easy way to do it. And clients love this one, and it kind of scares them, but as long as you guide them through it, they get over it fast, especially when it comes to that day, is have a day once a week where you just increase the calories, have them eating more for those 2 snacks and that meal, or if they're doing the 2 shakes, really increase that caloric intake, because then the body's really going to try to adjust to that. And then when they go back onto their normal caloric intake, it's going to, be ready to burn those extra calories. Last but not least, with our clients, we have to remind them that our body is always constantly changing. And so what works for them 3 months ago might not work for them today. What worked for them even a couple weeks ago might not work for this week. So we have to just constantly be adjusting and listening to our bodies and listening to their bodies, and just being patient with it and trying to have a little fun with it. And that's about it. Does anyone have any questions?
Super good information.
I do have a question about the cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
What are your other genius ways of doing cleanse that you've kind of tried depending on the client's symptoms and results? I've always been curious about that because, especially with overweight, people that want to lose significant amount of weight, it's really hard for them to fast. And so I try for them to kind of like ease into that 2-day cleanse. What are your suggestions? Because I know that I've never heard of that, starting at night instead of starting in the morning. So what other options do you suggest?
Absolutely. I actually have one client right now who she just has, that roadblock trying to really get into it. And she just has tried to do a full day cleanse just one day, and she always breaks it. She's like, I just can't do it. I can't get through it. So I have her doing just what I call a day cleanse, but it's not a full day cleanse, where she takes the CFL in the morning and kind of intermittent fasts until about 11 or 12, and then breaks her fast with a shake. And so she has that little extra time where she didn't eat anything at night. So, that usually they say about a 12-hour period or so, it extends it to about 18 hours. And then that slowly kind of eases them in. And what I also love to do too is have their fork and knife meal be their middle meal of the day. So people think lunch and they think noon. If she's breaking her fast at noon, they think lunch. But so I like to say your middle meal. So you have a shake, like a fork and knife meal, a snack, and then a shake for dinner too, because that's going to be a lot easier on your digestive system. That's so bioavailable that your body's not really doing a whole lot of work, and it can get to that cellular breakdown at night. And on top of that, you have that shake for dinner, and then also the cleanse for life at night too. So you're kind of hitting it from both ends, and that kind of helps them ease into it and wrap their head around it, because it's also decreasing that window that they're eating, but you don't tell them, hey, we're cutting down how many hours you get to eat. But by just giving them that schedule, it does that naturally. And so then they're only eating for a 5, 6, 7 hour period. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, you've literally only ate this many hours. Let's cut that down even more. And you can just slowly incorporate the wafers and the Isodelites into that schedule to get them to that full day, and then eventually 2 days.
Can I jump in there too, Jess?
Yeah.
I just want to say, I so agree that playing around with it. And while we know that, the ideal especially for someone with big weight loss would be a 2-day cleanse 3 times a month. It is so true that it's often when someone has a significant weight loss goal, it is not because it starts with mindset. And so I've done the same thing where I have someone start with let's say their shake, a snack, a shake, and then they go into their cleanse that first evening. And then they may even, if they can't make it through the entire day, then they'll break it with a shake at night. Yeah. But same thing is, in general for weight loss, if you can encourage someone to do breakfast shake and then dinner shake with their fork and knife in the middle, that's always going to be a better option. And cleanse for life every single day. I mean, they can just continue to do that all the time. One other thing I've been doing recently that's been having really great results is an eating window, which is combining the principles of keto without the craziness of keto. And I've actually been utilizing this on a couple of breastfeeding moms that are not able to actually use Cleanse for Life or any of the adaptogenic products. So, and I know that we probably shouldn't say this since it's recording, but I do it as well. And I'm 3rd trimester. And I've noticed since I've been doing it with the isobiome, my inflammation has gone down so significantly. So I start out the day, I start out in the morning, water, lemon juice in my water with the isobiome. And then I do a 1/4 cup of the coffee with MCT oil in it and maybe a little bit of almond milk. And then I don't do my first shake till around 10:30, Just depends on, I listen to my body. I would not recommend this first trimester if people are going through nausea. But then, shake and then a snack and then, kind of eat whatever. And then I do my last meal as my shake around 6:37. And that's actually more for acid reflux during pregnancy. But I've seen huge results where I'm only gaining baby weight now. And again, pregnancy is not a time to worry about calories or weight loss. It's more for me of just feeling good and not feeling disgusting throughout the day. So
yeah, no, definitely. And that's actually something that I incorporate too. It's the intermittent fasting. I typically start my day like Rebecca does, isobiome in the morning, lemon water, coffee with some almond milk. And then I don't break my fast typically till between 11:30 and 1:30. And then my last meal is usually around like 7:30 or 8. So a meal, I mean a snack. So.
And most people can get through that. Oh, I've got to run. But most people can get through that because they don't feel like it's a full cleanse day. And, and again, when you're combining that eating window, it's just so highly effective. So just so helpful.
Awesome. Thanks. It's my jam.
I have a quick question. Sorry. When you're having coffee with like MCT oil, is that technically you're still in a fast? Because I struggle personally not having a morning coffee. And I can't have black coffee. Like I just can't do it.
You are still in a fast with MCT.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And what I would recommend, like I have a hard time with black coffee in general. I mean, MCT, if you blend it, definitely makes it creamier. I still add a tiny bit of almond milk and just as long as you're getting stuff without a lot of sugar, it should still give you the benefits.
Yeah.
Also if you can find it, there's a great superfood creamer that's vegan. That's, it's Laird Hamilton's, like the surfer. It's got seaweed-based collagen that's really phenomenal, and it gives it the creamy taste without any sugar. Because the sugar is really what you want to avoid if you're in that fasting state.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions for anyone before we wrap up? Jess, you're so good. It was so helpful. I wrote down a ton of notes on sleep since that's what I've been dealing with right now. So, or lack of. Yep.
Mama.
All right, everyone. Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll do a call to action in the Facebook page to do your bios. And thank you again, Jessica.
Thank you guys.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.